Snow settled gently over the town, covering rooftops and cobblestone streets in soft white layers as the final glow of afternoon slipped behind the clouds. Windows lit one by one, and laughter drifted through the cold air. Inside a grand but welcoming home, warmth spread through tall halls decorated for the season. Evergreen garlands wound along stair rails, candles flickered in golden holders, and at the center of the main room stood a towering Christmas tree, its branches heavy with ornaments and crowned by a shining star. Clara Stahlbaum moved through the rooms with barely contained excitement. She was no longer a little child, yet not quite grown, standing at the edge of that delicate moment where wonder still feels natural. Her shoes tapped quickly across the floor as she checked the decorations again and again. Her younger brother, Fritz, raced behind her, brandishing a wooden sword, declaring triumph over imaginary foes, nearly knocking over a chair in his enthusiasm. Their parents watched with affectionate smiles as servants made final adjustments. Music drifted from a small group of musicians tuning their instruments nearby. When the doorbell rang, the house seemed to inhale with anticipation. Guests arrived wrapped in winter coats and scarves, carrying laughter, gifts, and the promise of celebration. Soon the rooms filled with voices, dancing children, and the hum of happiness that only comes on a winter holiday evening. Yet among all the guests, there was one Clara waited for above the rest. When the clock chimed 7, the doors opened again, and in swept her godfather, Herr Drosselmeyer. He arrived like a mystery carried by the wind, his long coat swirling behind him. One of his eyes shimmered behind a tinted lens, giving him an air of quiet enchantment. Children whispered that he was part inventor, part magician, and entirely unpredictable. Drosselmeyer gathered the children close and opened the velvet bag he carried. From within, he revealed marvels, mechanical toys that moved with perfect precision. A soldier doll marched smartly, a ballerina spun in flawless circles, powered by hidden gears. The children applauded in delight. Then, at last, Drosselmeyer lifted out a simpler gift, a wooden nutcracker, carved like a small soldier, with painted eyes, a proud mustache, and a levered jaw. He placed it gently into Clara's hands. Something about the little figure felt different. It was not grand or elaborate, but it carried a quiet dignity that captured her heart instantly. Fritz, unimpressed, snatched it away to test its strength. He tried to crack a large nut. The jaw snapped and broke. Silence fell. Clara's eyes filled with tears as she looked to her godfather. Drosselmeyer examined the broken nutcracker solemnly, then smiled. He assured her it could be repaired, that all wounds, wooden or otherwise, could heal with care. Relieved, Clara kept the nutcracker close for the rest of the evening. The party continued with dancing and music. Candles were lit on the Christmas tree, bathing the room in warm golden light. Clara joined the circle of children, yet her thoughts returned again and again to the nutcracker resting nearby. When the guests finally departed and the house grew quiet, Clara hesitated before going to bed. Though told to leave the toy in the sitting room, she couldn't bear to part from it entirely. When the halls fell silent, she slipped back downstairs and knelt beside the tree. As the clock struck midnight, the room changed. Shadows stretched, candle flames trembled. The tree seemed to grow taller and taller, its branches arching overhead like a forest canopy. Or perhaps Clara was shrinking. She could not tell. A rustling sound echoed through the room. From the corners emerged tiny shapes, mice, dozens of them. then hundreds, armed with scraps of metal and bits of thread. At their head stood a terrifying creature, the Mouse King, crowned 7 times over. Clara stumbled back in fear, then felt movement in her arms. The Nutcracker stirred. He rose, growing taller, his wooden form shifting into something almost human. His posture remained firm and soldier-like, but his eyes shone with life. He commanded her to stay behind him, and Clara obeyed, heart pounding. With a sharp call, he summoned an army. Toy soldiers sprang to life, marching into battle as drums beat and trumpets sounded. The clash was fierce. When the Mouse King cornered the Nutcracker, Clara acted without thinking. She hurled her slipper, striking one of the crowns. In that instant of distraction, the Nutcracker leapt forward and defeated the Mouse King. Light flooded the room. The Nutcracker transformed, wood giving way to flesh, stiffness to grace. Before Clara stood a prince. He thanked her, explaining that he had been trapped by an ancient spell. Her courage had broken it. He invited her to see his kingdom. The room dissolved into shimmering frost. Together they stepped into a glowing forest where every branch sparkled and snowflakes danced like living beings. Gentle figures of frost twirled around them, and Clara felt warmth instead of cold. They passed through a portal of silver light and emerged into a valley of wonders. Rivers flowed with caramel, trees bore candy fruit, a palace of sugar and crystal rose in the distance. Courtiers made of marzipan and gingerbread welcomed them, and at their center stood the sugar plum fairy, graceful and radiant. A grand celebration followed. Dancers appeared one by one, each embodying a different joy: spices, sweets, flowers, and laughter. Clara watched in awe as the final dance unfolded, delicate and breathtaking beyond words. At last, the fairy told Clara it was time to return. Light surrounded her once more, and the world faded. She awoke beneath the Christmas tree, the Nutcracker resting quietly in her arms. Morning came. Snow fell softly outside. Clara never knew whether the night had been a dream, but she knew magic had touched her life, and that once seen, it never truly leaves.